revolution of sound.
Beep beep, what's up ninjas? My name is Semrold and today I'm going to teach you how to mix future bounce. In front of us we have a stripped down version of one of the project files from Hexagon Revolution, the ultimate future house pack for Hexagon style music. If you're looking for any type of sounds or looking for guidance on how to make this style of music that has been created by Don Diablo's label, make sure to check out the link in the description below at the end of this video. Now let's begin. Here I have a stripped down version again of one of the project files. I've taken off all the effects on the drop, bass, drums. So we're going to go into each one individually and mix it so it sounds good, but right now it sounds like shit. It sounds like this. Brace yourself. So as you can see, this is how it sounds like when there's nothing on it, nothing is positioned. It sounds all fucking clustered, fucked, like everything's fighting with each other. So let's begin. The first thing I want to tackle is the bass. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the drop and the drums and just have the bass and the kick. Now, the first thing I want to do is apply a sidechain to the bus. The first thing you ever want to do is put in bus your bass lines or your leads. That's the best tip I can give you straight from the start, is to bus your stuff. This creates unity between everything. So what we're going to do here is apply a sidechain to the kick, obviously, and then we're going to do that here. Just lower it down, add a bit of infinite ratio. Use your ears to kind of pinpoint how much sidechain you need. I think here is perfect. So now we're going to move on to the next step, which is we're going to have to EQ each one individually. The first thing we need to decide is which one of our bass lines is going to be the sub. So we can either have a dedicated sub or have one of the bass lines in our layers be the sub. So what I'm going to do is check them all out. This one doesn't have that much low and it's more of a mid to mid high sound. So I'm going to move a croonin. This one sounds very nice and juicy. Let's keep going. Nice and juicy as well. And that's our bad boy there. You can see this one has the heaviest sub area. So what we're going to do is just get an EQ, obviously, and EQ out the highs on this because the other bass lines are going to cover that. I do want to keep this 200 hertz area because the biggest mistake beginners make is they cut this out, they go to their bass lines and they cut up to here, so then we have a lack of 200. That's going to give you a mix that sounds good, but that sounds very hollow. So be careful with that. I think it sounds perfect there. Now let's move on to the first bass, which again was very mid low and mid high. So what I'm going to do to this is remove the low end, as you guys know. We're going to remove a little bit of the high end as well. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to do here is go to bass 2 now and see what this is all about. That has that really nice juicy top end to it, and I want to keep that. So what we're going to do is grab this and do a notch like that. We're gonna notch here. There's not much there that we need. There we go. It's sounding good. Let's hear it together without this one. Sounds fucking awesome. Now we're gonna move on to the next one. Okay, this one definitely has a lot of that low end, but it does have that percussive hit. There, it sounds cleaner. Before, after. Cleaner. Now together we have so much better. Now we're going to add the OTT to this. This is going to be one of the things we did a lot in the project files for the Hexagon Revolution. There's going to be a lot of OTT because Styx loves using this stuff, but it works. He got some perfect ass mix downs that's crazy and super loud. So we're going to lower the depth down to 30% around there. That's usually where I find the sweet spot for these bass lines are. We're going to move up the, the low, the mids, and a little bit of the highs and go from there. It gives us that initial hit that we want, and now we're going to saturate just a tiny little bit. Saturation is going to bring out some of that nice dirt in the sound. You can see it kind of gives it that last kind of 5% that you need to get to that professional sound. Now here what we're going to do is just leave it like this. Now you want your OTT to always be behind the sidechain, because if I put the OTT in front of the sidechain, it's going to OTT it so much that you're not even going to fucking hear the sidechain anymore because it's going to be so squished. Okay, so always before. And now together we play this. Okay, cool. Now the last and final thing that I want is to put this into mono because we want this to be in the center of the mix. That's the most important thing here. Mono. You can see the difference. I know it sounds better in stereo because the bass is allowed to roam freely, but you want to keep it around mono. So what we're going to do here is mono and maybe let out a little bit just to have that little bit of that stereo to the bass. But for sure, we're going to add another mono to this and give it to here and make sure it's fully mono on this one. And once we have that, let's give this one a bit more. And now we have positioned everything properly and we've EQ'd it. So now we have... We're going to give a hint of reverb. Now the next thing I want to tackle are the drums. There's going to be a lot of drums in this project file when you guys access it. Now if you guys hear, this is the meat of the part. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. The first thing we want to do is pan. We want to pan our claps a little bit to the right. And then what we're going to do is pan our hats to the left. That's really going to open it up. And then the other thing we want to do is these little effects that we have hitting all the time. We want to pan them as well, just a tiny bit, separate directions there. Now, this is going to give it a lot of more like open-mindedness mix. What this means is not going to be all focused in the center, but it's going to be panned throughout the mix. Now, the cool thing is that the claps and everything is already well mixed because when we make the samples for the pack, we decided to just process them for you. So you're not really going to have to EQ a lot of stuff out. However, we are going to go and grab an EQ for the master bus on this. Sorry, the master bus for the drums and get rid of the low end, obviously. A little bit of it. Not too much there, and give a little hint up here, like a little bit of a air. That's what you call it when you give color air right there. And then we're going to do some parallel compressing on the drums with a glue. Let's put the soft on. And I lied, we're not doing parallel on this. We want to kind of just add this glue compressor because what it's doing is if the clap sounds too loud, the compressor is going to tell the clap to chill and lower the volume on it when it hits, which is going to make it sound more unified because everything's going to sound tighter than, when you don't have a compressor and everything's running around loose. The last thing we're going to do here is add a bit of saturation to this, just like we did to our bass. And that's how it's going to sound like. And when we play this together now. I want to give it a little bit more panning. I was hearing that the claps were a bit to the right, so we want to make sure the hats are a bit more to the left. All right, cool. So once we have that, we are done with the drums. Now we're going to move on to the drop. The drop is going to have these leads here. And then we're going to have another one that's going to sound like this. So the thing we need to do is we need to make them feel exciting. They don't sound exciting at all. In fact, it sounds super dry. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply OTT. Now, we are abusing OTT in this video because I know it's a plugin that all of you guys can access. I'd rather use the OTT than use the multiband dynamics because I know people are not going to be able to that are not in Ableton. So now what we're going to do here is literally move the depth down to about 40%, 37. And hear this alone. It's going to brighten it up a lot more, and then we're going to add reverb. This is what's going to make the sound more alive. Now, we want to be really careful with reverb because it's one of the dirtiest effects out there, so it comes with a double-edged sword. If you overdo it, you're going to stab the shit out of yourself. So what we're going to do is lower the dry wet to 30% and give a hint of it. There we go. Now we're going to apply an EQ after it to get rid of some of the lows that may be created by the reverb. Okay, and a little bit of a high end. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is apply the last piece of the puzzle here for the leads, which is going to be the sidechain. Now, if you notice, I didn't really EQ the leads that much, and that's because we only have 2 of them, and they're not really going to fight that much, as you can see here. We're going to have this. Now, this simple delay here, the purpose of it is to pretty much widen this sound up a bit more. What it's going to do is it's going to do the Haas effect, which is an effect where you delay one side of the sound by a split second, and it's going to create this kind of like ton effect, and this tricks your mind into hearing the lead wider, and this is what creates wideness. So this is how it sounds like. You can see here it's in the center. Now widen it. It's just a little trick there that you guys can use. Now don't overuse this technique on everything that you want wide, because it will make your track get out of phase easily, and you're going to have some phase cancellation going on, especially if they're in the same frequency and the phases are shift through the EQ. This one is just going to be standard. All right, now we're going to turn this one on, and what we're going to do is do a sidechain to the kick. And that's how you are going to mix and place everything in the mix in a future bound song. Someone requested this tutorial in the Evolution of Sound Facebook group, and this one is for you, brother. Just remember, you want the bass to cover the low end, anything below 150 hertz. But then anything above it, it can be put in stereo or in mono if you feel it's more strategic for yourself. Now the drop, as you guys can see, it's just 2 leads, but the reason it sounds super powerful just with 2 leads is because of the OTT and because we picked the correct 2 sounds in this project file. This one and this one. You can see this one covers the higher range while this one covers the mid-low, and it gives so much power, especially in the second part of the drop, which sounds like this. Now, that's going to be the end of this tutorial, guys. If you guys want to support me, support the pack, make sure to check it out. Hexagon Revolution. It's going to revolutionize your future house songs, and hopefully it gets you guys starting to make this music or add this type of music to the sound you already have. May it be trance, may it be big room. And I'll see you guys next time, guys. There's going to be a ton of videos this week relating to this pack, and I hope eventually one of them makes you want to support it. It supports the channel, and it helps me doing what I do. It helps me keep making these videos for free. It helps me keep myself afloat so I don't die and stop making these videos. Anyways, guys, you guys have a good one. Take care and have an amazing day.